Sorry.
And good afternoon, everyone. You join me for the 2024 Henley qualifying races. This is the head race that really matters. Unlike pretty much every head race in the UK, this is the one the crowds are turned out for. The riverbank is lined with rowers, past and present, who are looking to support their clubs. And in a moment, we should see the first crew coming through in the first event of these qualifying races. This is for the Thames Cup for Club 8s. Now, the concentration of Adidas pool sliders, Oakley radar sunglasses and Canterbury trackies is off the charts, which means we must be at a rowing event. And indeed, I can just see coming into view the very first of the crews in the Thames Challenge Cup, which is Agecroft Rowing Club, who will be in your frames in just a second. Now, in this event, we have 38 crews going for 16 places. And based on the time trial results at Marlow, which was only last week, most likely the crews that will be going through are Agecroft, who are just about to come past, Cambridge 99, Canterbridgian, City of Bristol B, City of Cambridge, Lee Rowing Club, Marlow B, Minerva Bath, Molesey, Nonsuch A and B. Yep, here come Agecroft. Star Club, the Thames B crew, who were incredibly salty they didn't qualify, having come well ahead of any other crew in the regatta. And quite an emphatic performance there from Agecroft. Clearly annoyed probably not to have pre-qualified.
Wait, how do you guys know we're not? Oh, fuck, yeah, I went to York with him.
And after Thames, I expect also Twickenham, Tyne A, Upper Thames, Vesta B will be the crews that qualify. There are 38 crews here trying to qualify for just 16 places, so half the crews going past will not be racing. And coming into view now, we should also have the Army Rowing Club. They're just going past the Poplar Point tree, the hole in the wall. Not looking anywhere near as good as Agecroft. That Agecroft crew looked very tidy, very together. This Army crew, definitely. The Armed Forces crews have always struggled. Yes, just coming onto your screen now. The Armed Forces crews have always struggled to get water time because they are based all around the country in all different locations. It's almost impossible for them to get any time together. And indeed, yeah, doing a nice finish for the crowds, but their blade work was suffering somewhat about 10 strokes ago. The stewards have clearly got the pacing right because there's quite a big gap here between each of the crews. There must be at least 30 seconds between each of them now. We have Oriel Kensington A coming up next. Hailing from west of London, they're based just near Hammersmith Bridge. A few cheers from the crowds. Again, been struggling to get some water time, I hear, from the coaching team that the AK crew coming together, but they're looking okay. Decent amount of cover. Just clearing the puddle on stroke side at 2. Nice bit of V-splash there, some very tidy puddles. And now it's after the A crew, it's the turn of the B crew. Definitely not as together as their A crew. You can see they've earned their place as the B crew in this club from the technique. Some really struggling to get the blade in. There is a pretty ripper of a headwind here. You can probably hear it from the microphone. Absolutely blazing down the course, which means the times I'm expecting will be pretty slow. Normally we would expect about 6:30 to be the time to get you through. Yes, here come AK, B. And now straight after AK we should have Bedford Rowing Club. And I'm afraid their 3-man there is really struggling with this headwind. His blade is so far from the water. Perhaps that's why they put him at 3. Yep, and also an interesting steering choice to be on the Buckinghamshire station as they come into the final stretch of the course. I mean, they're right out in the middle of the stream. Why they're steering there? Probably a bit of inexperience from the cocks. Again, just costing themselves time. As they go through to the finish line, Bedford Rowing Club. Now after Bedford it's Broxbourne, just from out in Hertfordshire, towards the northeast of London. Again, some nice V-splash on those blades. The 6-man really going for it. I'm not sure his blade is actually making much impact on the water itself. But they are trying their hardest to qualify. I'm sceptical that they'll make it, but I could be proven wrong. And now Cambridge 99, who I think are one of the hot favourites to qualify. They are ragging it absolutely. I think they know that it's going to be close for qualification. Even amongst these top crews, the stewards' qualification choices this year have been... And the power of the central bucket, perhaps that will be what gets them through the... And I'm not sure they actually went through the line there, but clearly absolutely gunning for it. And they clearly have made a big impact on the stopwatch because the crew behind them, Canterbridgian, are nowhere. And if the stewards, normally they set these crews off pretty spaced out evenly, so... And I tell you what, there's not much pace on this crew at all. They are moving much more slowly than the Cambridge 99 crew. I think that is a dead cert to qualify. Although this is probably where, in an hour's time or so, I'll be proven completely wrong. Just coming into shot now is Cantabs. Looking pretty tired and not that long. It's tidy, but it doesn't look that powerful. And now we have Castra Boat Club, which I believe is alumni crew for, is it Surrey or Nottingham? Anyhow, just coming into shot now, Castra Boat Club. Yeah, Nottingham alumni. There's a big Nottingham crowd right here.
Let's go, boys!
I mean, they were desperate to qualify. The bow pair looking around every stroke in the last 10 to try and see where the finish line was. And now Swift on their tail should be, we're into the City clubs. We should start with City of Bristol A, who again I think are pretty good chance of qualifying. Quite a solid club, City of Bristol. And they're looking very tidy, but the cover is not good. They are not getting clear of the strokes puddle. It's looking tidy, but it's probably not looking very efficient from that. And then off the A crew, there's a big gap back to their B crew. And while we wait for the B crew to come into the shot, you can't see this, but the riverbank is absolutely jam-packed with people on the landing on the riverbank watching the crews, with people doing a warm-up run before their race, with people milling up and down, trying to get a better shot as the B crew from City of Bristol just comes into shot. We should also see behind them, to be honest, even further back, is the C crew. And the wind has dropped. I think they're okay. To be honest, they're actually having better cover than their A crew, although just only clear of the strokes puddle.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm gonna go boat, so.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay, no,
bye guys. Sorry.
Hi Charlotte. Hello. Yeah. I'll see you soon. Yeah, we're. Yeah. I'm here till 5 o'clock.
Okay, nice.
So
Lovely.
I'll be around. Yeah.
See you in a bit.
We're gonna go clap the bottom girl down.
Tell me
back
about
here.
it.
And just coming into shot now is the City of Bristol C crew.
So yeah, sorry. Where?
Again, I think the coaches have got the order right between A, B and C. Gosh, that bowman is really trying to get as much length as possible, but he is struggling to sit up. And that is looking tired and rather slow, to be honest. And straight across to City of Cambridge, who I think another one of the favourites to qualify for this event.
Yeah, Harry!
Featuring Harry.
Yeah, Harry!
Somebody or other. Got some Blue Star alumni in this crew. The Newcastle crew sat next to me are cheering them on as they go through the line. They clearly jacked the rate and therefore the cover's shrunk a bit. But I think they're a good bet to get through to the Regatta next week proper.
Once you're in the house, I will. But you were the one that rang me at the last
And then we come on to the East London club, Curlew. I'm afraid that does not look like a qualifying boat to me. The rate is... There's great effort and exertion from the crew, but the distance per stroke there is pretty low. They're sat right in the middle of the stream. I think they will be going home this evening without a qualification place.
You didn't tell us, but I knew it was your birthday, and I said, by
It's
the way,
cold, I love it. I better get my bloody bag.
Just make sure you look good for the race, you know, just when you go through the finish line.
pick up with everyone's birthdays. Now I have to tell Miles, my school friend from 11 years ago. His birthday's on the 14th.
Now after Curlew we have Dart Totnes Amateur Rowing Club. Reader. And I'm joined here by James Reader, former Henley winner. Hi James.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you feeling to be here at qualifiers?
I've got like prime position right in front of stewards. Some fast boats gone down already.
Excellent. And how many times have you had to qualify, James?
4.
Out of a total of?
4.
You had to qualify every time?
Oh, no. Well, the qualifying Brit, Wyfold, ladies, and Fawley.
Okay. And have you got any top tips for qualifying for the crews that are hoping to race later today?
Don't feel like you've got to have your perfect race, but let's go get back on it and then let's keep on the wine for the finish.
Excellent advice. Right, well, cheers, Reader. And now, having seen Dart Totnes, we're on to Kingston. And again, I can't say that Kingston are on my list of favourites of crews to qualify. It's looking reasonably tidy, but not fast. And I think the standard here just so high, I'm not convinced that this is a performance that is going to see them through to next week. But you know, this is the race of truth, It's the stopwatch that counts, not my opinions. And straight in there we go, straight to Lee Rowing Club, my home club. Go on, Lee! Looking fast and pacey. They were told by their coach earlier they had to have the race of their lives to qualify, and they are going for it. Ooh, a bit scrappy around the finish there, but rate is high, power is high, and across the line for Lee Rowing Club. Well, you can see by the gap that I had to pan around very quickly to get to Lee there, so they were clearly moving. And this is London B now. Again, London, a powerhouse of rowing this year, in the last few years, in fact. They've really gone up through the rankings. They've got plenty of pre-qualified crews, but I think, frankly, got some UL alumni there. Alex Woodhouse at the 5 seat, looking tidy, and I think also probably a crew with a good bet chance of qualifying. As we're already seeing some of the crews for the island come down, Durham University just on the opposite side of the bank now. And we're seeing a flash of red, which means it's time for Marlow, and that headwind has picked right up again. The Marlow crew really struggling to get their blades in at the catch, and a massive bit of rigger dive there on that last stroke. Frankly, quite happy myself to be on the bank here rather than in any of these crews with this kind of wind. Again, the blade work just not quite at the standard that I think will be needed for qualification. Reasonable amount of speed on the hull, and they're very little check, so they're rowing relatively efficiently, but the sharpness at the front is probably not what you need in this kind of headwind. And now after Marlow B, we're on to Marlow C. In fact, Marlow have entered 3 crews that are having to qualify today, and you can instantly tell just by a mere glance at this crew that this is definitely the C crew compared to that B crew. Marlow having a really good year for rowing, but I do not think that this is a crew... Gosh, a lot of squeak on that rigger. That foreman is absolutely hooning it. He is determined to qualify, come what may, but I'm not sure it's going to happen. There's a lot of power in that crew, but I'm not sure it's efficient enough to get them across the qualifying margin. And my goodness, what a gap back to Marlow's D crew. We will be waiting for some time for them to come into shot. And I'm afraid this is definitely not a qualifying performance. Struggling at the catch, on the wrong side of the river, looking really not very fast at all. I am afraid that this is a crew that is going home this evening, I suspect. And indeed, I can see Minerva Bath, who were one of my favourites to qualify, right up against them. In fact, they are only about 2 lengths them. We might actually see the first overtake of the qualifying race. Will Marlow be able to hold off the challenge from Minerva Bath, who are only, I would say, 2.5 lengths behind them? You consider that the stewards set them off 30 seconds apart. And in fact, that's a warning from the stewards now for Marlow to move out of the way so that Minerva Bath can not be washed down by them. In fact, to be honest, Minerva Bath could come a bit closer to the booms here and get out of the wash of that Marlow D crew. But they're sticking to what they know. And indeed, I'd say that's only 2.5 lengths between Minerva Bath and Marlow D there. And now just further back, just coming into view, should be Molesey's crew in this event. Now Molesey, another powerhouse of rowing, and indeed winners of the Thames Challenge Cup, only I think it was 2 years ago, in a famous final between them and Thames Rowing Club. And I think that Molesey crew is looking quite spicy. Very tidy. There's some big ergs in that crew, I can tell. I think they will be going through to qualifiers. And a big gap between the Molesey crew and the crew behind them, which in fact is non-such A. So Bristol University alumni will be next up the course, and in fact the non-such A crew did pretty well at Marlow Regatta.
I've got an emergency contact.
Not quite as tight as that Molesey crew, but still pretty composed, and a lot of big ergs in that crew. For if you the Marlow results are to be believed, definitely in the qualifying threshold for this event.
Yeah, the twins.
And I think that non-such crew will make it across the line for qualification. I think they put in a decent enough time at Marlow for that to be pretty assured. And we're just waiting for non-such B. So it's pretty unusual for any alumni club to be able to field an 8 into Henley Royal Regatta. To field 2 is something quite exceptional. So they've clearly managed to get a lot of people in the right place at the right time. And again, potentially one of those crews at the threshold of qualification. If they've had a good race further up the course, they might be going through to the regatta. Again, there's 16 places and 38 crews. To be honest, they might not have the big ergs of the A crew, but they are still looking pretty tidy. And I think that's one of the sort of crews that will be making someone like Lee nervous about whether they're making it across the qualification threshold or not. Just about clearing the puddles there on stroke side. And now we're waiting for Nottingham Rowing Club.
So I might show her an egg crib.
We're going to be popping, bopping.
And I'm sorry if you can hear a bit of background noise as we have the Nottingham crew coming up. The stewards have decided to mow the grass, and I'm not convinced that... I mean, look how high the bow of that crew is coming out of the water. I'm not sure they put the right people in the right seats. A lot of check on that boat. And to be honest, not as pacey as some of the crews we have seen go past already. And from Nottingham we go straight on to Quintin. Quintin from, again, the west of London. And again, not on my list of potential qualifiers. And it is looking pretty scrappy there at the front. As I say, it's blowing an absolute gale here in the middle of the course. You can see from the ripples on the water. It's down on stroke side. There's a lot of gritted teeth and desperate faces, but it's not looking particularly fast. Not at all, not much cover on that crew. As they go past across the line, that's Quintin Boat Club. Now next up we have a very unusual crew. We have Rex Boat Club, which is the alumni of the King's School Chester. And this is a crew made up of the teachers and coaches of the school. And they didn't do too badly at all at Marlow, but I'd be surprised if they're making it through to Regatta. The stroke man is David Blackham, the head coach of the King's School Chester. Nick Fernhead was in this crew at Marlow, so actually they've lost their best oarsman. And at 3 is Matt Jump, also one of the current coaching staff. They're definitely having a fun time, but I'm not sure they're going through. And look, this is it. This is Royal Chester from next door, who are putting in an astounding performance. They are moving. We've got Ed Press at stroke and his brother Alex at 6. And I think that is a crew that will be going through looking very tidy and with a lot of pace on it. They've caught right up to that Rex crew.
Yeah, Newcastle!
Yeah, the TV!
Yeah, the TV!
And here comes Star Rowing Club. I'm also expecting them to qualify, although to be honest, not as pacey as some of the crews that we have seen so far. The rate is high, and the blade work is very tidy. Lovely bit of technical prowess there.
Go on, Aaron!
Yeah, Fisher!
A nice bucket in the middle. Maybe that's the source of their success.
Finish it, stop!
They are very tired. I imagine they've worked very hard in the middle of that race.
Yeah.
You sound like you're having far too much fun. You're chatting.
And now following Star Club, we have the crew that probably deserved the most of all of these to pre-qualify, and to be honest, we're pretty salty that they didn't. We have Thames Rowing Club B. I'm sat right next to some Newcastle crew. We have Rich Hill coxing this crew, George Nelson at stroke.
Yes, Aaron! Yes, Dan! Yeah, Newcastle! Yes!
Harrison at 2, Stan Cannons at 7, and that is a crew that I think, of all of the crews here, is guaranteed to qualify. And again, that wind picks up as we come through the last of the Thames Rowing Club crews. Now, after that Thames B crew is a big gap back to the next one, which is the Tortoise Club. This is the Oriel alumni, I believe. And I think it would be a bit questionable if they qualified, but anything's possible here. Really struggling to get the blades in there on bow side. Really getting caught by the wind as they come through into your shot. We've only got a handful of crews left. We should have Twickenham, Tyne A, Tyne B, Upper Thames, Vesta B and Vesta C. Can you tell they're the Tortoise Club? A bucket in the bow fore, that's most unconventional. And as we pivot straight back to Twickenham Rowing Club. To be honest, they did quite well at Marlow, but I wouldn't say they're looking as pacey as you would think here. Getting a little bit caught by the wind and blown around. There's clearly some big guys in that boat. And Twickenham through, and then we have the 2 Tyne crews, Upper Thames, Vesta B and Vesta C to go.
We need it to start questing.
I know, but yeah,
Yeah, Tyne!
And it's Tyne A, another crew that I think is a pretty much dead cert to qualify.
Yeah, Tyne!
And I'm stood next to some Newcastle supporters who are giving it very vigorous endorsements.
Yeah, Tyne!
And it's Harry Oliver there at the 7, willing the crew forward as they approach the last 5 strokes of their race. I think they're a dead cert to qualify. A bit further back though to the Tyne B crew. They've clearly opened up a gap.
Never going to stand there.
And I'm just seeing the flash of the blades of the Tyne B crew. Bit of a carnival atmosphere at Henley. All sorts of familiar faces popping up. And yes, here comes the Tyne B crew just into shot. We should have them, Upper Thames, Vesta B and Vesta C to come. And again, definitely the right selection of the letters there between time A and time B. The looks like the four-man of that crew really struggling with this headwind to apply the power he's got, willingly pulling the blade as hard as he can.
Yeah, Ty! Yeah, Pete! Yeah, Pete! Yeah, Pete! Yeah, Pete! Open it up, boy! Yeah, Pete! Yeah, Pete!
And Tim Porter's the stroke seat there, wearing his Lee Rowing Club hat as they go across the line. Probably not on the list of qualifiers as we pan straight across to Upper Thames, who I do think are also on the list, and clearly a local club because their Cox is leaving no margin whatsoever between them and the Boons with this headwind, and they are moving fast. And Rob Leach, the stroke man of this crew, a very experienced oarsman. Given the rating at that, that's pretty decent cover. As they move through, I think another good bet to qualify. As we ping through to the last, if I can get my camera angle round. The last two boats of this, the Thames Rowing Club qualification race. This is Vesta's B crew. Again, Cox taking absolutely every advantage he can, steering as close to the booms as he possibly can. And that's Vesta's B, I think another crew which also were putting their hat into the ring for qualification. And we're just waiting for the final crew of the Thames Challenge Cup, Vesta C, who again, the club has clearly got the order of the letters right because they're looking pretty scrappy in this headwind. Difficult conditions and not quite as aggressive coxing as we saw in the previous Vesta crew, sitting more about in the middle of the stream.
Actually, a few people on the bank.
As this is the last 8 of the Thames Challenge Cup qualification race. And through go Vesta. And I'm afraid there's no rest for the wicket because we go straight on to the Ladies Challenge play, and this is the first crew. This is from a composite of Leander and a French club who I won't bother to try and pronounce. There's only 3 places. 3 places available in the Ladies Challenge. Sorry, there's 3 crews racing with only 1 place, I believe 2 places available. And I think that crew has just clearly made themselves enter the qualification, which means it's a race between Thames A and Thames B for the final slots in the Ladies Challenge Plate. And we're just seeing the Thames A crew coming through. Thames have been doing so well this year. They've now have 8-star ineligible. In fact, we have previous winners in this crew. We have Jamie Palmer at bow, who's won the Thames Challenge Cup. We have Henry Lamb at 3, who won the Wyfolds, if I remember correctly, 2 years ago. Other stalwarts of the club rowing past there. A crew that's clearly going to do well and should have a lot of fun later in the competition. And then, to be honest, I can't even see the Thames B crew yet. Their coach told me earlier that they wanted to just make sure they went faster than all the other Thames Challenge Cup crews, and not insurmountable challenge, frankly, for Thames B, but I still can't see them come into view, and this is almost some 30 seconds now after the A crew went past. Yeah, I really don't think this B crew is going to be qualifying, given the performances we've just seen from those 2 8s. That Leander crew clearly putting a marker down to qualify, and the A crew also looking extremely strong. I mean, this crew here looks good. They could have done a better job painting their blades. Maybe that's the sort of arty look they're going for. but they do not look bad, and they do look pretty tidy. Definitely up there with the top of the Thames Challenge Cup crews. Some really big ergs there in that crew, clearly. Very committed athletes. But I don't think they'll be getting a Henley Royal Regatta place based on what I've seen just so far in the last minute or so. And now we move on to the Wyfold Challenge Cup. We have 37 crews here racing for 11 places. Again, a very tough draw and some controversial selection choices from the stewards. If you are a fan of Reddit and have been watching any of the commentary on the rowing subreddit, it's been highly entertaining and some very bemused clubs. All right, Rich. And here we have the first crew, Oriel Kensington. Now they've had 2 8s and a Wyfold. This is probably their third boat then, looking at the performance I can see in front of them. The Crab and a Barrel crew here.
New puff, I put new puff. Okay, I will also say new puff. Yeah, it's a nice vibe. Yeah. Alright,
and then we're straight through into Black Sheep Rowing Club, looking pretty effective, and they've clearly caught up that A crew quite significantly, because there was only about 5 or 6 lengths behind between the two crews.
Yeah, Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham.
Now, we should see, I'm expecting to see Cambridge 99, but they're all the way over on the other side of the river. And to be honest, not looking particularly at the Henley standard. That is looking pretty slow, I'm afraid. The bow bear of that crew, willing the crew to, I don't know if he's fighting to keep it straight or not, but he is trying to give absolutely everything at the finish, but he's coming far out from his rigger. And on the inside, we see the City of Oxford A crew, who are one of my bets to qualify, almost overtake them. We haven't yet seen any overtakes in the qualifying races, but this could be it. There's only about 3 lengths in it. I don't know if they've got enough room to actually make the overlap, but it's definitely, I think we pretty can see that Cambridge 99 crew is not going through.
Go!
As City of Oxford looking very tidy, I think that crew is through to qualification.
It's interesting.
And then following the A crew, we should have the City of Oxford B crew.
Have you seen Emma?
Again, a lot of aggression there at the front end, but not really what you want in a coxswain for. You want to try and be as smooth as possible and not be fighting it so much. And clearly not as fast as their A crew. The coach has got their selection the right way around there. And interesting sequence here. Hello, mate.
Hello. Don't let me interrupt you.
Oh, no. I'm joined here by Rory Copus, formerly Abingdon School, formerly Oxford Brookes, and now, if I remember correctly,
Wolfson College.
Wolfson College. We're just seeing the City of Sheffield go past.
Yeah, Toby! Woo!
Again, a bit of an outside bet for qualification, I would say. And they've been caught right up by, I think this is Curlew. Yeah, Curlew. Curlew, another crew who, if you've been reading Reddit, are probably not to have qualified this year. Or apparently anyway, I wouldn't want to put words into people's mouths. Or their keyboards. Yeah, did a pretty good performance at Marlow, this Curlew crew, so my expectation is they will be going through. It's their top boat from the club. I think that will be going through to qualification. And you can see they've closed the gap there with that the City of Sheffield crew. And then straight on it we have the next crew, which is Deal, Walmsdown, No, Deal, Walmart and Kingsdown Amateur Rowing Club. Who again looking quite tidy. They weren't at Marlow, so we're not quite sure how they'll do. Having a fun time there in the bows of that crew. As long as we had a good race, they probably could have come more to this side and got themselves out the stream, but oh well, we'll see what the stopwatch has to say about their performance. And then I'm afraid big gap behind them to Derby Rowing Club. Now Derby have a pretty fast Thames crew, but I'm not sure that this Wyfold crew is of the same calibre. They are right up against the booms on the Buckinghamshire station, and there's a crew on their inside who are looking to overtake them. Yeah, it's Durham Amateur Rowing Club, I think, looking to overtake them here. As the Derby crew go past, they're trying hard, but it's not looking fast. It's looking quite short. And here comes the Durham crew, only about 3 lengths behind them, who have clearly caught them up. And the stroke man calls the wind. Again, we're yet to see any overtakes quite yet in this qualification race. And straight back to Grosvenor. Grosvenor did quite well at Marlow as well, but I can't say they're looking as aggressive as you would think someone wants to be for someone who's racing with qualification in mind. Looking very tidy, but I'm surprised they're not jacking it more to wind it for the finish. Perhaps they just want to stay in their strong rhythm. You rode at Grosvenor?
Do you not see the uni suit I was wearing? It looked very similar to a Lee one.
Did you go to Chester?
Yeah.
Are you from Chester?
I studied there for a year.
Okay. And now, following Grosvenor, we have Henley Rowing Club, and I think this has got some veterans of the rowing scene in this crew. They did okay at Henley, but I don't know whether they'll be able to qualify, but they're looking aggressive and reasonably tidy. Some really big people in that crew and really experienced rowers. Maybe they will qualify. They're in the mix for sure. As we swivel round to Hereford Rowing Club, again, did a pretty decent performance at Marlow. And one of those crews that are in the mix, but I'm not sure would be on my top list if we had to pick 11, whether they would be in that group. Again, on the Buck station, just giving themselves a bit of a disadvantage there with the stream. And this wind is vicious. And just out of sequence there. This must be...
Yeah, the Swans! Yeah, the Swans! Still all right.
And just coming to view Kingston's first Wyfold crew in this event. Kingston, also a club capable of producing very solid crews. And looking pretty tidy there, but again on the Buck station, they've been blown a bit off course. As we pan round to find the next Kingston crew.
Yes, I did get a license to drive
And apologies, the crew earlier was Hinksey Sculling School. So now we have Kingston's B crew. Actually steering a better line than their A crew. but I wouldn't have them on my list of people who are going to qualify. Now, further down the course is the Lee Rowing Club B crew, their A crew having pre-qualified. And I believe this is a development crew from the club. We'll be looking to just have a good row and get the Coxus 4 down the river straight and true. And not looking too shabby at all as they come past the enclosures. But hot on their heels is London's B crew, who have activated their final wind. And as I say, hot on their heels, only about 5 or 6 lengths behind is the London B crew. A quick look from the bowman. Can he see they're going to overlap? They're not, but still, that looks like a crew that's probably going to go through to qualification. And then next coming up the course, we should be seeing Lymington Rowing Club. They didn't appear at Marlow, and they wouldn't be on my list of clubs that would be making a Henley qualifying crew, but this is the head race of death, if you like. We've had the Regatta of Death for the Olympics a few weeks ago, and we've now got the Henley equivalent. Maybe they will make an impression on the stopwatch. Just slightly not quite together on stroke side, but reasonably tidy. All right. They look good.
It did look good. That's the best I should get. Right.
And now on to Newark Rowing Club. Again, an outside bet, I would say, for qualification based on what I can see here. I don't think they came to Marlow. Hello.
Fancy.
Excited? And now Northampton Rowing Club. Again, probably not on my list of crews going to qualify today. And we're followed by Northampton Rowing Club. Sorry. No, apologies. That is Nottingham and Union. And then swiftly followed, hot on their tail, is Nottingham Rowing Club. This features Harry Fraser Urquhart, Newcastle alumni. I think it's Stroke. And clearly his fan club has stood next to me.
Let's go, let's go. Yeah, Harry.
He's wearing his blue star with pride, I think. As they go across the finish line, I think they're probably through to the Regatta. And now we have Peterborough City. They were just on the cusp of what you would consider a qualifying time at Marlow. Looking reasonably together, but it will all be down to the stopwatch, I think, as to whether they go through. I think they're right on the cusp. They were probably, as I say, just in the mix for it, but I think there are a lot of crews in this space. It's going to be pretty competitive. And we've still got another 12 crews to go, and we might finally have our first overtake of the qualifiers racing. It looks like that St Andrew Boat Club have caught right up against Reading Rowing Club. And there's only about 2 lengths in it now. In fact, Reading could probably do with coming a bit close to this side so they don't get in the wash of Reading. No apologies. It's not. It's Reading who are overtaking Putney Town. I apologise. And a big rigger dive there from Putney Town. Reading right in the middle of the rail. Oh! That was not what you wanted captured on camera, I'm afraid. Certainly one to keep the crowds interested, but not going to help you qualify. And now, apologies, now we have St Andrew Boat Club. Looking pretty tidy. And I'd say they're definitely in the mix for qualification based on what I can see.
So, in my eyes, I don't have this. It's so long, 25. How's the going?
Now we go straight through to the UK Armed Forces. This is a club that I think are also quite annoyed not to have pre-qualified. Racing in a borrowed leander boat. Again, though, Armed Forces crews always struggle to get together and get the water time. The fitness is never in question. In fact, the fitnesses are usually quite high in the Armed Forces crews. It's just a question of can they row together. But they are looking pretty tidy, and given their effective performance at Marlow, I think they're all right. I think they're through to qualification. Definitely on my list of people who are up there. Now, we should expect to see Upper Thames in a second, followed by Vesta. I think the Vesta A crew are definitely on the list of qualifiers. Vesta B, Wallingford, Walton, A and B, Wimblewall, Worcester and York City.
It's good you have that attitude, sure. And you've had a nice year. Good year out.
And here come the Upper Thames crew. They clearly just had a bit of a steering wobble there because they were right up against the booms and they've moved out towards the middle, so the steerer's confidence has been a bit knocked by that. The rate's good. The accuracy's a bit short. Up they go. There's the final wind being called by the bowman. It's not really accelerating the hull though. And hot on their heels is the Vesta A crew. Now they are steering a bit of an unusual course there to be right over on the buck station in this headwind and with this stream, and maybe that will cost them a few seconds, which might not help their qualification efforts. And some shouts of aggression there from I think the bowman. Maybe they haven't had as good a row as they would have hoped as Vesta A go across the line. Big gap though back to Vesta B, who are, well, I'm not sure that is Vesta B, to be honest. They're racing with white blades, so maybe it isn't Vesta. We'll have to wait for a bit closer. Yeah, it is Vesta B. They're going on a real steering journey and they've been caught right up by Wallingford. Right over on the buck station, now on the barks. Right in the middle of the river, washing Wallingford down quite effectively, to be honest. All or nothing goes the call from the 3-man. But Wallingford are coming. Yet to see... No. Well, it's Wallingford, I think, but they're racing in a Worcester boat. Yes, Wallingford there going through. I think that's... Well, they've certainly caught Vesta B. Whether it's good enough to qualify or not, I'm not sure. Again, a pretty brutal qualification round. There's only 11 places for these 38 crews. As we see Walton. It's not Oxford Brookes, it's Walton. Again, I think this is one of those crews that may just be on the cusp of qualification, but it's looking pretty short, to be honest. And a big gap back to the B crew from Walton. Only 4 more crews in this, the Wyfolds, before we move straight on to the island, the Women's University 8s. In fact, it's almost an hour ago since we saw Durham boats. And oh, we've got three crews in shot. We have Walton B, who are weaving about all over the place. I don't think they'll be qualifying. That's not looking anywhere near fast enough. And then we have a sort of bit of side-by-side action here. Now, this is really testing my knowledge of rowing clubs. On the inside, this could be Worcester or Wimbleball. I think it's Worcester. Borrowing an Upper Thames boat. Significantly overrating. And this crew here, I think this might be the Worcester crew. They are right up against the booms there. Are we going to see a California-style crash? And oh, they've hit! Contact! 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 That's not how anyone wants to finish their qualifiers race. That's the first crew to hit the booms in this qualifying event. Gosh, it really was California v Thames 2016 all over again. Blimey.
Yeah, Moses!
And then the final crew of the Wyfold is coming up, but hot on their tail is the first of the island crews.
Oh, here we go.
This is York City racing in a Vespoli. Talk about rogue choices. Very fashionable about 2007.
Yeah, York! Yeah, York! Yeah, York! Yeah, York, big lads! Yeah, York! Yeah, York!
And through go York, looking pretty tidy actually. But will the Vespoli help or hinder them? As we're straight through into the island cruise, and this looks like now, this is where I'm going to get it completely wrong. I think this is Boston University. And there is such a big gap between them and their opponents. I think if anyone's going to qualify, it's probably this crew. They had an astonishing performance at Henley Women's, if memory serves me right, last week. They didn't win, but I think they were semi-finalists. And we return to the Island Challenge Cup. Now we have 34 crews racing and 13 places, so only the top third will be going through, and I can see in front of me, I think it's Clare Boat Club Cambridge about to be overtaken by Drexel University from the USA. In fact, we might finally have our first overtake of the qualifying races. There's only half a length between Drexel and Clare. Through they go. And yes, I think they've got overlap. This will be a huge burst of adrenaline as Drexel go through to Clare. But Clare I don't think will be going through based on that. Drexel quite possibly. And straight behind them, the Durham University crew. I think this is their B crew. Yeah, this is Durham University B. In fact, we've got some pretty formidable rowing universities here. We've got Durham, Edinburgh, I think 3 crews from Newcastle. Looking very tidy and effective. Durham having a bit of a rowing renaissance, to be honest, in the last 3 or 4 years after COVID. Change of head coach on both the men's and women's side, if I remember correctly. And that's clearly paying dividend as we go through to Edinburgh. Not looking anywhere near as pacey as that Durham B crew, this Edinburgh B crew. Both universities' A crews having pre-qualified already. As we now have Edinburgh's C crew right in the middle of the river. And as we wait for Exeter University to come through, a big gap there from the C crew of Edinburgh. And here come Exeter. Cox steering pretty well against the booms there, right out of the worst of the conditions. And again, some more big gaps. We're now waiting for Girton College, Cambridge, and Glasgow University. And I think this is, again, stretching my knowledge of university rowing. And yes, it's Glasgow. I think have gone through Girton as we come through to the finish line. Our first genuine overtake of the qualifying races. And yes, here's the Girton College crew. Glasgow doing pretty well for women's rowing at the moment. And behind them is, I think, the Dutch crew. This might be. This is Groninger Studentenweverein Eger from the Netherlands. Yes, I'm not sure they're going to have the pace to qualify this this Ager crew. They're looking very tidy and effective, but they don't look as fast as some of the crews we've seen from Durham and Edinburgh earlier. Or indeed the United States. We had Drexel and I think it was Boston University looking very emphatic. Now, next up was Imperial College. And as you can probably tell from the shots, the chaos has built as the qualifying races have come into swing. More and more people blocking the camera view. And this is Imperial. I think this is, like many of the University 8s, this is a composite of their academic Cox's 4 with half of their 8 that raced at Henley Women's last week.
Get the vlog! Yeah, Mosey! Yeah, Mosey!
And that's a tremendous gap there from A-Gear and Imperial. And we're now on to, I think we've got some schools. So we had Kew House School, and here come the Blue Stars. It's Newcastle University B, another overtake. Our second, I think, of the qualifying races. It's Newcastle B looking emphatic. Just struggling a little bit with that headwind to get the blades in, but they've gone right through Kew House School. And as they come towards the progress board, the Poplar Point, 100 metres to go.
Yeah, Newcastle! Yeah, Newcastle! Yeah, Newcastle!
The supporters club build to a crescendo.
Yeah, Newcastle! Yeah, Newcastle!
And as Newcastle sail off into the distance, it's Kew House School rowing past, again, a crew that's very unlikely to qualify. And as you've seen, they've already been overtaken. Now a bit of a gap back to Newcastle's C crew. But I think that B crew probably a good chance of qualifying, even with the brutal qualification funnel. Again, looking tidy, but obviously not as pacey as their B crew. And some excellent coxing there, right up against the booms. Again, I don't think there's much I can say. And now we're on to Nottingham University's B crew.
Yeah, nuts! Yeah, nuts! Yeah, nuts!
Again, looking pretty tidy.
Let's go, nuts!
Come on, Nottingham!
Yeah, nuts! Yeah, Nottingham!
Come on, Nottingham!
Yeah, all the way, nuts! Yeah!
But I'm afraid for Nottingham, it's bad news because Brooks are already on their tail. And this is the Brooks B. I mean, anyone would put a place on Brooks qualifying, at least their B crew.
Yeah, Brooks!
As we should be seeing the Brooks C crew any second. Yes, just coming into shot now.
I don't want to do that. I've made a Henley final. I'm not doing
And here come Brooks C now.
Yeah, Brooks! Yeah, Brooks! Yeah, Brooks!
And straight on to Oxford University. This is their A crew, in fact, actually.
Leave it right there.
And another big gap out to Oxford University's B crew. And here come the Oxford University B crew, being coxed very effectively, right up against the booms, looking very tidy. But I don't know whether they'll have the speed to be able to get through in this pretty brutal qualification round. And again, a bit of a gap back to Oxford University C. And in fact, behind them, I can see the flash of the blades of the next crew, which is the Southern Methodist University USA. They were at Henley Women's last week and made a pretty big impression, although the steering, I've just seen them go on a big journey to come up right close against those booms. I think they're just struggling a bit with the wash from the Oxford University C crew. And you can just see them there in shot now, the Southern Methodist University, who are an absolute stormer, and I think the cox there from Oxford University C, just a bit of a glance of concern, if anything, as this Southern Methodist University crew come roaring through the enclosure.
Oh, don't know what guys coach is right.
And again, another big gap now to the next crew.
He's like genuinely like.
This is the King's School Chester, should be the next crew. I mean, for a school crew to be racing in a university event is unusual. To qualify would be astounding. And in fact, it looks like they've been overtaken by the crew behind them already, which would be Trinity College, Hartford, USA. And here is the next one in the Ireland Challenge Cup. This is University College Dublin B. Sorry, Trinity College Hartford have clearly gone through and overtaken the King's School Chester. This must be the B crew from the King's School Chester, because presumably they put their A crew into the Prince Philip Trophy. And that was a pretty commanding performance from the Trinity College Hartford United States of America crew there to go through and look so fast, frankly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like it's. They've got good
Hello, mate. How was your row?
I think within the context of how we've been rowing and what we wanted to achieve, I think we were pretty close to what we wanted to achieve. So
We got results.
no, like this time, like at least half an hour, or like an hour later than last year. I remember last year we hardly shoot away from the Thames.
And now is the University College Dublin B crew just coming through the enclosures. Again, just maybe not quite as sharp as some of the other crews we've seen at the front. Now we have the University of Bath.
Try and get a bit closer to the break line on the I also think that, like, I don't know how different it is as well, but like,
And right up behind them now is the University of Birmingham. Again, not looking as fast or commanding as some of the crews we've seen in this event. The American crews in particular. It's interesting, in some of the other categories, the stewards have asked all of the crews, international crews, they've been given pre-qualifications. So it's interesting in the island that's not the case. And it's some of the Americans who've come all this way and have raced at Henley Women's have been asked to qualify. And I'm near some Bristol supporters as the cheers go up for Bristol University. And they are looking much faster than Birmingham, much more dangerous. And Ed Cox is going absolutely berserk, willing everything he can out of the crew as they try and will themselves towards the qualification threshold. Only a handful of crews left in the Ireland qualification race. 34 into 13, as this is the University of Iowa from the United States of America, obviously. Can you tell they're from Iowa? And again, another American crew to do the double header, to do Henley Women's last weekend, followed by qualifiers this weekend, and hopefully Henley Royal next weekend. University of London B, University of London C. We've got 2 crews from University of Rhode Island, University of Surrey, then Wyfold College, Cambridge. And here comes London's B crew. Now, I don't have anything interesting to say about this crew in particular, but the University of London had a women's crew racing last week at Marlow Regatta rather than Henley Women's, and the reason for that was because on the Friday one of their crew members had an exam and couldn't actually do the preliminary round of the competition, so instead they decided that they would go and race at Marlow Regatta instead in the open category against the men, which they actually didn't do too badly. In fact, they came 75th out of 103, I think, if I remember correctly. So for a women's crew to do so well against men's crews is pretty impressive, and they were rowing very effectively as well. A big gap now back to the ULC crew. And again, not as much pace on this one as the B crew we just saw go past, and to be honest, I don't think they'll be through to qualification. And we're straight on to the University of Rhode Island. This is their A crew. And again, sometimes the stewards give American crews the benefit of the doubt, go straight through to qualification, but in this case, there's at least, I think it's 4 universities from America who are having to come here to the qualifying races. And borrowing a King's School Chester boat, it's the University of Rhode Island B crew. And the last couple of crews from the Ireland Challenge Cup qualification race, we have the University of Surrey now. I think this might be their beginners 8 that was racing at Henley Women's last week.
Peter. Yes, sorry! The artist that you signed, remember? Oh yes, hi Peter, good to see you. Sean and he signed about Sean Paul. Yes, very good. 2018.
As we wait for the final crew of this, the Ireland Challenge Cup. Wait for the final crew of the Ireland Challenge Cup to come through. This is Wyfold College, Cambridge. We see the first of the women's quads racing through, and it looks like that the City of Oxford and Martlet Boat Club are about to overtake this 8. The Princess Grace qualification race is pretty brutal. It's 6 crews going for 3 places. As an open event standard, you will need to be pretty pacey in order to get through, and it looks like they're only about a quarter of a length away from an overlap on that Wilson crew, but going through already we're having more overtakes, so it looks like that Leander B are about to be able to overtake Globe Rowing Club. There's again only about a length in it, and this Leander crew pretty effective. The Leander top crew will of course be away for the Olympics at Paris, so this is very much, I imagine, the development quad, and a big gap there from that Leander crew to the crew behind them, which will be Marlow and Queen's Belfast. They must be at least 40 seconds behind. Oh, right. Just filming the thing and do some content. Well, just also like no one ever films me. Look good though. Yeah, but I'll probably not look at that. Ooh, bit of a bigger dive there. Yeah, see, the B crew look good. Yeah, absolutely. And wait for the final of these 2 crews. It's the Notts County Rowing Association composite with the University of Birmingham. Sculling very tidily, but again with only 3 places to go through, they need to exert and apply every ounce of power they have. And through come Reading University. Reading, a powerhouse of sculling on both the men's and the women's side, and I think they will probably be one of the crews that will be qualifying. Looking at that, there is some significant pace on that boat, and sculling very tidily. And now we're straight on to the Town Challenge Cup. This is for women's Cox's Fours at the open standard. And this is 8 crews going for 3 places. A pretty brutal metric. People are going to have to be the top possible quality. And I think some of the crews that we're seeing, this is a Boston University crew just coming into view. This is definitely not their top boat. This is probably their reserves coming after the 8, and I do not think they are going to put in a performance that will qualify from the Town. Not looking bad, but it's probably just, you really need to be so good at this level. Rowing in a Newcastle University boat they borrowed. That said, there is a significant gap behind them to the crew next in the list, which is Derby Rowing Club, so perhaps actually, maybe I was too pessimistic about their chances. We've still got some good crews to come though. Leander B, Leander and Oxford, Oxford Brooksby, Oxford and Nearhouse, Thames Rowing Club and Upper Thames Rowing Club. So it looked creditable, but I don't think it's going to be enough to qualify that. And here comes Derby again. Also, I don't think we're making it through. Again, pretty tidy. But at this stage, with the categories what they are, realistically you're going to have to be entering the club events. Keep going, you're not there yet! And they've stopped before the line. I don't think that will have helped their qualification chances one bit. As Derby Rowing Club stopped before the line, and here comes that Leander crew. Looking very tidy. They've got the Ratzenberg rig, the bucket in the middle. That's a good chance for one of those coveted 3 qualifying places these 8 crews are racing for. And now we're on to our next of our composites. This is Oxford University apologies, Oxford University and Leander Club. Again, looking very powerful, very emphatic. Not sure why on the buck station there, but again, a crew definitely in the mix for qualification. And now a bit further back, we've got a Brooks crew, and I think this is a Brooks B crew. You know, Brooks have got so many crews in this regatta. They've got 8 women and a 4 here, in fact, and an A4 as well. So I think they're just not quite looking as pacey as that Leander crew we saw. Very tidy though. It will all be down to timing. All be down to times. Nothing going wrong, but as an open event, the standard here is so high. And now a big gap back to the next crew. This is Oxford University and Neerhouse, I think. Again, not looking as pacey as some of those Leander boats we saw go past. Oxford and Neerhouse, both incredibly strong rowing universities. And again, as you would expect at this level, the rowing is technically good. There is power, and now we have an interesting race. We have a Thames Rowing Club B, Thames, a powerhouse of women's rowing, being chased by Upper Thames Rowing Club. And I think Upper Thames, there's a quick look there round from the person at bow. They're getting washed down by Thames, but they caught them up in about 20 seconds on this Thames crew. Thames B crew, and again, with the qualification ratio being so brutal, we would say in a club event they would definitely qualify, but here comes the Upper Thames crew. They are on a stalker. They are absolutely going for it. And now we have the Remenham Challenge Cup coming through. We have 6 crews going for 3 places, and the first up is Leander Club. And straight up behind them is Leander and Ban Rowing Club from Northern Ireland, if I search correctly. Looks like a pretty colourful composite. In fact, this might be, judging by that, a under 23 crew. They're looking extremely tidy, and yes, I think they're rowing with GB blades there. So this probably is the British under 23 crew. I mean, it definitely isn't the senior crew, because they wouldn't be here. They're in Paris preparation. And a big gap between them and the next crew. And here come Molsey, looking pretty strong and definitely putting a claim down to get that one of those 3 places in the Remenham Challenge Cup. In this, the Remenham Challenge Cup, and here comes the next. What do you want me to do? This is Strathclyde Park, and the no, it's Thames Rowing Club. They may have overtaken the Strathclyde Park composite. Thames Rowing Club, again, a very, very strong rowing club with many Henley women and Henley Royal winners. They've won all won the Wargame Challenge Cup since it started. And a big gap through to the next crew. I'm just trying to crane my neck to see who it is.
Look, you want to see?
Oh, really? Oh, really? Mercantile. Yeah, we were racing.
And that's nowhere onto a brick crew. We're straight into Agecroft Rowing Club. I'm not sure if it's lot 2 of the Remenham crew, maybe they've withdrawn, which will make the odds a bit more favourable for those racing, or whether they're going straight through into the brick because they've been overtaken. We shall see, and here come Agecroft. Now the Brit is going to be absolutely brutal. There are only 2 available slots in the Brit, and there are 15 crews going for it. That's a 7-to-1 ratio. Through go Agecroft, looking pretty tidy, but their riggers are squeaking like anything. And again, with such a brutal ratio, they're going to have to put in a commanding performance to get through to qualification. But they've opened up a big gap on the next crew, which is Bideford Amateur. Now they did a pretty good performance last year at the qualification, but I think they've been caught up by City of Bristol, if what I can see in front of me is correct. Yes, in fact, City of Bristol turned this into an impromptu Henley final. As they come charging down the course, you thought you were here next week, you would see this sort of stuff, but yes, City of Bristol have gone through Bideford Amateur, I believe. And they're looking much commanding. They can see the crew now, they've gone through, they've overtaken. Bideford really struggling in this wind. As Bristol put the hammer down and go through, they think, I mean, that's surely assured yourself a qualification. You would have thought, except there's only 2 spaces and so many crews to qualify. That's an absolutely commendable performance, but whether it be enough, I don't know. Straight behind them is City of Oxford. Also looking strong, although perhaps not in the blade painting department. There's some real movement on that, and some aggression from the bow seat. And they put out a big gap to them and the crew behind, which is Kingston. Again, 2 crews laying claim to qualification spots, but I think it's almost impossible for an observer on the bank to work out who's going to go through given the timings. Here come Kingston. To be honest, it's not bad. It's looking pretty good, but I don't know whether it's enough to qualify them. Not quite as fast as that Bristol crew we saw, who were absolutely hooning it down the course. Total aggression from the Kingston crew there. Now, again, we have another side-by-side race. And some of the crowd leaps their feet.
One of them who just refused to row and was cold.
Come on!
Where's that? At Moldy? Yeah. When it got too cold, you were like, I'm not rowing anymore.
So this should be Hereford Rowing Club.
Everyone, so like, one of the mirrors is broken.
No, Leeds Rowing Club racing Mercantile. Now, why Mercantile will not put through at pre-qualification will remain a mystery to me. Going to be strong Australian. Here they go. Another overtake. The Leeds Rowing Club crew, who are rowing very commendably, but they are being left for dust by Mercantile, who've caught them up by at least 30 seconds. But again, we've seen some very strong performances, and will Mercantile secure one of those 2 spaces in the qualification? And I can't even see the next crew. Mercantile have covered so much pace there. And again, another compression of the crews. So we've got Northwich Rowing Club and Poplar Blackwall and District Rowing Club.
It's a good club.
Northwich have put in some previously pretty fast crews into this regatta. I think 2 years ago they had a pretty good performance. And I think this is the Poplar crew really struggling here, and the bowman is so far away from the water at the catch. Stroke side looks reasonably tidy, but bow side is all over the place. They are struggling with this wind and they are struggling with this stream, and it's compressed right up, so it looks like if this is Northwich, or maybe even it's. So we should have Poplar, yes, Poplar just going through past your screen, and then behind them should be Northwich, although I remember Northwich rowing in yellow, so maybe they've changed colours. No, we've skipped Northwich and we've got Princeton Training National Rowing Association in the USA who caught right up. And then behind them we go to, I believe, Riverside Boat Club USA. Those three crews right abreast, and then behind them we have a Thames crew, Thames Rowing Club B. So we've lost a few crews. A few crews didn't get on the start line. I thought I've had such a terrible race that they haven't made it this far up in this time. And the crowd roaring down at the finish line for this Thames Rowing Club crew. But I do not think that they will be qualified. They're not looking bad at all. And in a normal year, I think they could expect to get a seat on the start line. But with the odds being so unfavourable this year. And here come Upper Thames now, hot on their heels, also looking good. I'm afraid there were going to be some really good crews who were just not going to be racing this year at the regatta, which is regrettable, but unfortunately with the Brit only having 16 places in the first place and a high degree of international entries, unfortunately that's kind of the way things are. To get onto the start line is an achievement, and this regatta is showing. And now on to Vesta.
It's the first under bridge here. First straight heading away.
Again, giving it their absolute all, and they're really picking that boat up and accelerating that hull. But I think this is Vesta's top crew, actually, if friends remember me correctly. But again, are they going to be racing at this regatta? It's just too close to call. And we're now straight on to the Visitors Challenge Cup. This is Aberdeen Rowing School, Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association and University Rowing Aberdeen. Now in the Visitors we have 13 crews going for 6 places. Straight behind them is Glasgow University. Now the Visitors is a pretty random event. Standards, so you see everything from the lightweights at universities who want to stick in their floor to second crews that aren't going to race the Temple. And now we've got an interesting crew. We've got a Tel Aviv Marine Club and Tel Aviv Rowing Club Israel. They did a pretty cracking performance at Marlow. I think they were right up there in the mix, and I think this is one of those crews that we would expect to qualify. Although I think there were some people who were definitely not from Israel racing in this crew. If I saw the t-shirt Marlow correctly. And straight behind them is a Henley Rowing Club and Norwegian Remenham Club composite, again looking very pacey. I think they will definitely, that's a performance that will definitely put them in the mix for qualification. And then now we have a Leander crew. This is Leander Club's B crew.
Did I do Marlow? No, I didn't do Marlow, did I? We did. We all trained this morning.
Again, tidy, but probably actually I would say not as pacey as the composites we've just seen go past. Very tidy though, very effective. And a bit of a gap now back to the next crew, which should be a composite between Leander Crew and Veslaki Club Slava from Serbia. I know nothing about Serbian rowing. but they're racing with an Imperial boat by the looks of things.
Sorry, how rude of me. Nikki, lovely to meet you. Ewan? Ewan.
Interesting Leica in the bow there, looks like a thunderbolt across the bowman.
Oh, yep.
It's one of those crews that only has one Leander person by the looks of things. Could be an under-23 crew that. Although White would have a Serbian person, maybe not. And through to Molsey.
What do they do over there?
And again, looking sharp, as you need to do in the intermediate categories, but probably not as hasty as some other crews. And a lot more check on that boat as well than some of the crews we've seen going past. The standard is high in the visitors. You have to be not just good, but you have to be really good to qualify.
And then someone said it's too.
Oh, really?
I hope it's that fast. Like, he's throwing like that. That'd be
And straight behind them, we have a competition between Oxford University and Nottingham and Union Rowing Club. And now, quite a bit down the tracks is an Oxford Brookes University crew. Again, as you would expect from Brookes, looking very tight and pacey. This is definitely one of the crews
King Julian! What was that?
And a big gap now between Brookes and the next crew, which I think is a Thames crew. Yes, we're waiting for Oxford University, then Sheffield University, then Thames Rowing Club. And clearly the Thames Rowing Club crew is having a stormer because they've gone right up the rankings. Either that or those crews have dropped out. We're missing Sheffield University. In fact, yes, I think Thames have overtaken Sheffield University a long time ago, probably at the mile post by the looks of things. And here comes this Thames crew, absolutely going for it. They look very effective.
Yeah, come back.
Very tidy, excellent technique. A lot of pace on that hull. But we have seen some good crews go past, so whether they'll be enough to qualify or not, they are leaving it nothing on the table there and sticking together. The stroke man willing the crew forward. And this Sheffield University crew is clearly not going to qualify based on what we've just seen.
I said, we qualify or what? Did we even race? Oh, yeah. Why did I get the call?
Final crew, Officers, and it's Greenwich crew. And are they going to do a repeat of California and hit the booms in the last 300 metres? Yes, they are. They are right there. Oh, so close. We've already had one crew crash and stop on the booms. That was a very close shave. I thought they were going to stop, but no, they've made it across the line. And we're straight on to the next event. This is the Prince Albert Challenge Cup for Cox Sports at the university level. So it's a bit surprising to see the first crew as a school. I think it's very unlikely, almost unheard of for any school crew to ever qualify for the Prince Albert Challenge Cup. And I don't think that crew is going to change that anytime soon.
Poor guys.
There's 9 crews racing here for 4 places. Next up is Cornell University from the USA, looking a lot more effective than the crew we've just seen, as you would expect. Moving much more smoothly through the water. Cornell have sent lightweights previously to Henley Royal Regatta as well as heavyweights, so I'm not sure which category that is, but they've opened up a big gap to the next crew, which is Edinburgh University B. To be honest, we've probably seen all the crews that are actually going to do well in the competition pre-qualify. And wow, what a shout from the Edinburgh crew. huge roar further down the clearly a very popular crew. Edinburgh comes storming through, well, to around a storm of approval, but I'm not sure it's necessarily going to be fast enough, but then probably is given the odds of the competition. And wow, there's a whole host of Edinburgh-related people walking down the towpath as they go across the line. And now another big gap out to the next crew.
I now just
And now just coming to view is Jesus College, Cambridge. To be honest, I think they might have a chance of qualification. 9 into 4. So we've got Canford, Cornell, Edinburgh B, Jesus College, King's College London, New College Oxford, Brooks B, UEA, and ULB. I'd probably say if we're going to qualify, Edinburgh, Brooks, UEA, and but we shall see. We can see what holds. And now coming to view is King's College London. Again, it would be a bit surprising if this crew qualified. Looking at that technique and that power, they are really struggling to sit that boat, even at a higher rate. Reasonably sat at the front, but they are out there in the middle of the wind and the stream, just gifting themselves seconds to their opponents. And now Brooks B crew. I think that's a bang on certainty to qualify Brooks B. I mean, this is probably their 9th boat, knowing the way that Brooks operate, but still probably powerful enough to get through. And given the level of competition they're facing from college clubs, I don't think they're going to have any difficulty qualifying.
Friday or Saturday or Friday or Saturday.
And indeed, given the enormous gap to the next crew, which is the University of East Anglia, I don't think that Brooks crew has got much to worry about.
I'll see you around.
And we're faced with another Coxed 4 overtake. And this is UEA going through. Gosh, that's one of the crews from earlier. Yes, in fact, to be honest, it will be a battle between UEA, UL, Brooks, Cornell and Edinburgh for those 4 places. 5 into 4, to be honest, because that is New College, Oxford, and they are going nowhere fast.
Okay.
And just coming into view now, the final crew of this, the Prince Albert Challenge Cup, ULB. Again, fighting for that final qualification spot.
But yeah, the 8th row, like, they looked exceptionally good. They looked the best I'd seen them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matilda! Yeah, Mosey! Yeah, Mosey! Yeah, Max!
And this Molesey crew looking pretty commanding there.
Yeah, Mosey!
Although I'm not sure they need to wash down their opponents. I don't think they're going to have any difficulty
Yeah, let's go!
qualifying.
Yeah, Max! Oh, they're my 2 friends from Stanford. Yeah, Matilda!
The Hambleden Pairs Challenge Cup, we've got 8 crews going for just 2 places. And just coming into view now, having seen the Thames Challenge Cup of Crocker and Campbell, we've seen Grisby and Egan of Black Sheep. The being overtaken by Greenstock and Druid and Molesey, and now we should have Harris White and Birch from Upper Thames Rowing Club and Army Rowing Club. And then next up will be Lewis and Hermes of Cambridge 99 Rowing Club in second. And I'm afraid I don't think that either of these two crews in view will be getting those qualification spots, judged by the commanding performances we've seen from the Thames and the composite crew we just saw go past. This is Lewis and Hermes of Cambridge 99. And now, having overtaken their opponents from Trinity College Hertford, it's Newton and Wilden of Strathclyde Park Rowing Club. And here coming to view is the American pair, probably their spare pair, Newman and Griffin, given they've got an 8 racing in qualifiers earlier. And we're just waiting for the final pair to go up, but I can't see them, so I think that's it. I think they must have withdrawn. And we've got now a bit of a break between racing.